Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got quite a lot of stuff to break down for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLC. We're going to do a big recap of all of the leaks that are confirmed to be coming to either the Teal Mask DLC or the Indigo Disc DLC. We have other leak updates to go over as well for Scarlet and Violet. There's a lot of stuff to break down, so if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes, it really helps out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on anything we cover in today's video. Subscribe if you're brand new for daily Pokemon content. Ring the notification bell. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video, and I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, this is a Twitter thread put together by Centro Leaks, basically just going over all of the leaks from Riddler-Coup and other sources, and then a couple of rumors in here as well. Luckily, we know what are definite leaks from Riddler-Coup, and we know what rumors are from, like, 4chan or whatever. But anyway, Centro Leaks here posting saying, recap of current Pokemon DLC rumors. A decent number of Pokemon will get special forms when terrestrializing with a specific type. So, this is going to be known as Terraforms. I don't know if that's going to be what they're called in the DLC, but that's what they got like leaked as. They were originally leaked on 4chan, and then they were confirmed to be true by Riddler-Coup, and they said that basically a decent number of Pokemon were going to get it. So I'm guessing like 12 to 15 Pokemon are going to get this. Probably going to be Charizard, Terrapagos, and maybe a couple of other Pokemon. Maybe the starters. I could definitely see the starters getting it, because in Generation 8, the starters got the Gigantamax forms in the Isle of Armor DLC. So I think it's going to be very similar here, where the Generation 9 starters get the Terraforms in the Gen 9 DLC. So yeah, Terraforms definitely something to look forward to. No idea how they're going to kind of incorporate them into the game, whether they're going to get like extra stab boost or whatever. But it seems that they're going to be quite a cool form, because only a decent number, only a few Pokemon are only going to get it. So going to be really interesting how they incorporate it. We don't know if we're going to get like 8 in the Teal Mask and then like another 7 or so in the Indigo Disc, or vice versa, or they're all just going to be in the Teal Mask and then the Indigo Disc just gives us something completely different. We'll have to wait and see. But Terraforms are definitely coming to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And next up, masks could play a bigger role in the Teal Mask, like hats currently do for Terra. So this is kind of self-explanatory in the way that obviously it's called the Teal Mask. Ogerpon has a mask, and there's also been masks that are shown in like the footage of the kind of video roles for the DLC. Masks are going to play some sort of important role in the Teal Mask. It obviously makes sense. We don't know how this is going to come into play, whether that is going to be the reason behind Terraforms and instead of hats you have masks. Maybe that could be a way for them to kind of incorporate it into the game, because again, we don't know how these terraforms are going to work. We don't know how much they're going to differ from terrestrialization. If it's just going to be like a more busted version of terrestrialization, that's the only way I could really see it making sense. But yeah, masks could play a bigger role in the DLC. That's obviously going to be in the Teal Mask, which is the first DLC releasing. Next up, all starter Pokemon from previous gens are returning. Now again, we don't know in which DLC pack these are going to return. We don't know if like the first first 4 generations are going to be in the Teal Mask, and the last 4 generations are going to be in the Indigo Disc, or if it's just going to be like mix and match. Then maybe like Gen 1, 3, and 5 or something are going to be in the first DLC, and then Generation 2, 4, yada yada are going to be in the second DLC. The main thing to take away from this is that all starter Pokemon are going to be in the DLC. Now, originally, all of them were going to be in apart from Snivy and Tepig, but that has since been changed in the most recent patch for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. More DLC kind of details have been dropped, and it seems that Snivy and Tepig, both those evolution lines, have also been added. It would have been very, very weird to have every single starter Pokemon and then just 2 Generation 5 starters not to be in the game. Obviously, Oshawott was always going to be in it because of the Hisui and Samurott. Like, Oshawott's already in the game. As in regards to the other Generation 5 starters, it'd be really weird not to have them in the game as well. But yeah, all starter Pokemon are going to be in the DLC, which is really, really cool. Which is another reason why I think that the Generation 9 game is going to be like the last Pokemon games on the Switch. It's just like a nice send-off, so that all starter Pokemon are going to at least be on the Switch, because it'd be a bit harsh if not every single starter Pokemon was available. Of course, there are other Pokemon that are still not available. Like, this is the list of all returning Pokemon, and I think the only Pokemon that are not on this list that have not been on the Switch, I think, are the Elemental Monkeys, and I think Furfrou as well. I think every other Pokemon has been, also Watchog as well, that Watchog evolution line. Those are the only Pokemon that have not been on the Switch and are not in this either, so they are the only Pokemon that are never going to have been on the Switch. But either way, it's a really cool send-off, I think, for I guess Pokemon on the Switch if all starter Pokemon are on the Generation 9 game. So yeah, look out for that. And as well as that, there's going to be a new feature that may aid in training Pokemon which has been described as PK Hex-like. So if you don't know what PK Hex is, basically it's like third-party software that just allows you to create Pokemon from nothing. So you can just literally create a fully ready competitive Pokemon from absolutely nothing. And basically Riddler-Ku said that there's going to be a PK Hex-like feature in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. Don't know if that's going to be the Teal Mask or the Indigo Disc. We don't know how it's going to kind of present itself. We don't know if you're going to be able to create custom Pokemon out of nothing. They've made competitive Pokemon very easy to obtain in these games with the release of like mints and just all the different ways to get like IVs, EVs, and change nature and stuff like that. Like, it's very, very easy to do. So it wouldn't surprise me if they make an even easier version of that, which is a PK Hex-like feature. Maybe it costs like, I don't know, like 200,000 Pokédollars or something, and then you can like just create a Pokemon from scratch. Or maybe it's like paid feature, like maybe you actually have to pay real money to be able to access it. Maybe it's like a third-party app, or maybe it connects to Pokemon Home, and then you just basically have to pay for it, and then you can create these Pokemon. Not like every single Pokemon. I don't think you'd be able to create like legendaries and mythicals and stuff like that, but I think your normal everyday Pokemon, like Pikachu, for example, maybe there's like this software that you have to pay for, and then you create a Pikachu. You can give it its moves, its ability, its nature, its EVs, IVs, or whatever, and then from Pokemon Home, you can then drop that into the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games, and maybe that's only going to become available once Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC drops. I don't know. That's the only way I could really see it being a thing, if you can create them from scratch. Or maybe there's just a way to reset your Pokemon and then build it up. So maybe if you send a Pikachu into this thing that's going to be in the DLC, maybe it's like a machine. You put your Pokeball in, it resets its move pool, its nature, its IVs, and its EVs, and then you can kind of like build them up again or something like that. That would be a cool feature. But yeah, expect some sort of PK Hex-like feature in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. Now, this isn't something I completely agree with. It says the Teal Mask will release in late 2023, while the Indigo Disc in early 2024. Now, this isn't concrete information because there's been multiple sources. So obviously, one source is saying like fall 2023 and then winter 2023 for the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc. However, it then says on the eShop, it says like it says like winter 2023 for the Teal Mask, and then it says like 2024 April for the Indigo Disc. These are just placeholders at the moment, because when the Isle of Armor was announced, and then also the Crown Tundra, Isle of Armor we didn't get a release date for. That just kind of like dropped after the Pokemon Presents. Although I think that actually did say like summer or something, but that actually dropped after the Pokemon Presents. However, the Crown Tundra was stated to release in fall, and that actually, no, in winter, and that actually dropped in October, which is fall. And so these placeholders I don't think are a massive thing to go by. Just because they say like 2023, like fall and winter, that could easily mean that the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc still drop at like different times. But as of right now, that's what they're stated to release. But again, there's different sources, so we don't actually know. And then it also says the Indigo Disc will include graphic enhancements for Switch 2. So this is kind of going into the idea that both basically the Indigo Disc is basically Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will also be available on the Switch 2, whatever that new console is called, or whenever it comes out. The leak that kind of gave us information about the terraforms and stuff, they said that the Switch 2 was going to be, coming out soon as well, and that it was going to get a graphics enhancement for that console. And of course, the next Twitch console is going to be like 60 FPS. We've seen from different sources that they have actually created 60 FPS models for all Pokemon in the Generation 9 games. So that also kind of gives you an idea that it's probably going to be getting an enhancement for this next console. It'll be really interesting, but those are all of the leaks that we have definitely for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC as of right now. Again, it doesn't look like a lot, but there's like some pretty big features that are going to be coming. And as well as that, to finish things off, we have this kind of leak update to go over as well by Soul Silver Art. So this was a post by Riddler-Ku kind of talking about this. This was like an April Fool's one where one of this was true and like one of it was like fake. But either way, we have Soul Silver Art here saying, I think I may have overcomplicated this riddle. At first, Q's riddles are sometimes literal codes, but most times, in cases like these, maybe it's exactly what he just said. It's both a real and a fake leak. What if that just means at least one of these Pokemon is getting a new form in the DLC? If half of it is real and the other half isn't, then 3 of these Pokemon will be getting new forms and other 3 won't. Okay, but which one? So, yeah, this is basically what he tweeted out. So Charizard, Cinderace, Greninja, Pikachu, Decidueye, and Samurott. These are obviously all the Terra raids that we had as well. And he said, you're both version information. Here's the first batch of Mons who are going to be wearing special hats or masks in the DLC. Got a clue and got a surprise. So we start things off by saying short answer, Greninja, Pikachu, and Cinderace, possibly Charizard. So this is the explanation. This idea stemmed from the idea that I think it's nearly impossible for Decidueye and Samurott to get forms when they just got Hisuian forms about a year ago. Imagine they give one to Typhlosion 2 just a year after already picking them one of the starters to get new forms in Legends Arceus, so they're just out in my opinion. And then next up, they go on to say the remaining 4 could all get new forms, but I think at most Q meant 3. Cinderace is similar to Decidueye and Samurott in that it got a G-Max pretty recently. Now you could say that the same about Charizard and Pikachu, but those two are mascots of the franchise and super popular. And usually whenever there's a new kind of thing, Charizard gets it. It got a Mega Evolution, it got a Gigantamax form, etc. So they're always in the running. The thing is, there's no doubt that Game Freak have heard the complaints about too many Charizard forms, and Cinderace is very popular too, so I wouldn't be surprised if Charizard actually takes a backseat this gen. I don't agree with this message at all, because basically the only people that you hear complain about like Charizard most of the time are people like on Twitter and stuff, but the vast majority of people actually really like Charizard, hence why the Charizard cards are so expensive, hence why whenever you seem to do like a poll about the Generation 1 starters, Charizard always wins it. Like Charizard, just because there's like a bunch of people on Twitter that saying like, oh, Charizard gets too much of this, too much of that, doesn't mean that the majority of people hate Charizard. Charizard is actually really highly loved by new fans and old fans alike. I just think it's like a majority of people on Twitter that kind of like drown that out. But when you put the grand scale of things into kind of the idea, Charizard is massively loved. Like Charizard is a hugely popular Pokemon in the grand scheme of things, and that's not just me saying anything, that's like literal like evidence and stuff. Then a flying Terra Pikachu was a gift to introduce terrestrialization because of the TCG Pikachu with balloons, so it stands to reason that a surfing water Terra Pikachu could be a fun reference to introduce this new Terra mechanic too. And lastly, there's Greninja, who I think is the most logical to get a new form. They just retconned and basically erased Ash Greninja, so now one of the most popular Pokemon that had a special form doesn't have one anymore. It makes sense that they felt okay with taking this form away if it were gonna replace it with one in Scarlet and Violet, and I'm the most excited about Greninja, even if it was the only one out of this group to get something. I personally think it's going to be Greninja, Pikachu, Charizard. Charizard always get forms. Like I say, the way that Soul Silver Art described that Ash Greninja kind of got backseated, I think that's a really good idea as to why Greninja would get one, and then yeah, Pikachu is a mascot as well. So I think these three are definitely going to get Terra forms. It'll be interesting to see which ones do. After all this, it could literally be like Cinderace, Decidueye, and Samurott that get one, but I don't know, thought it was quite interesting. Again, Riddler Q still hasn't posted anything more about this, and he's still not posted anything else about the kind of code leak that he posted. Yeah, either way, that's going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed, drop a like, try and hit 500, leave a comment with your thoughts on everything we covered in today's video. What are your thoughts on all the leaks for the DLC, and also which Pokemon do you think are going to get these special Terra forms? Subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bells, everything from me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.